They say animals sense danger before humans do, but no one tells you what it feels like to watch your 11-year-old rescue pit bull, who normally needs help climbing the porch steps, suddenly stand like a sentinel between your child and a closed garage door. Her body language screaming a warning that something terrible waited on the other side. Emily thought she knew what danger sounded like. But danger doesn't always announce itself with a crash or a bang. Sometimes, it scratches. Quietly. Patiently. Waiting to be discovered. The sound came again. A soft, deliberate scratching from the garage. Emily's shoulders tensed as she set down the dinner plate, her breath visible in the chilly kitchen air. Probably just mice, she whispered to herself. Or maybe that raccoon again. But something felt different. The house was too quiet. The kind of quiet that precedes something significant. Maddie, honey? Stay at the table and finish your dinner, okay? Emily didn't want to worry her daughter. Not when every day since losing her father had been about creating safe spaces, normal routines, small moments of joy. Luna stood motionless, head lowered, ears forward. The pit bull's muscular body seemed to vibrate with tension. What is it, girl? In 11 years together, Emily had learned Luna's language. The gentle nudge that meant, I need to go outside. The playful bow that invited games with Maddie. The contented sigh as she settled at their feet during movie nights. But this was new. Emily moved toward the garage door, but Luna was faster. The elderly dog, usually slow to rise from her bed these days, suddenly darted forward with surprising agility. A low growl rumbled from deep in Luna's chest. Not the warning bark she gave the mailman or the playful rumble during tug-of-war. This was primal. Ancient. The sound of a guardian facing a threat. Luna? Move, girl. The scratching stopped. Then came something worse, a heavy shifting sound. Whatever was in there was big. Much bigger than a mouse. Should she call someone? But who? Neighbors were a quarter-mile away. Police would take at least 20 minutes to arrive. Emily thought of her daughter. Of the promise she'd made at her husband's funeral, that she would keep their little girl safe, no matter what. Luna, move. Her voice firmer now, though barely above a whisper. The pit bull's tail stiffened, but she didn't budge. Instead, her whimpering intensified, almost pleading. In that moment, Emily realized something crucial. Luna had never been wrong about a threat. Not once. Mommy? Is everything okay? Everything's fine, sweetie. Just stay there. Emily's voice projected a calm she didn't feel. Luna's growl deepened, her body pressed harder against Emily's legs. The garage was dark, shadows pooling in the corners. The scratching had stopped, replaced by shallow, ragged breathing. She never acted like this before, and when she finally pushed the door open, that's when she saw it. What stood before her would change everything, testing a mother's courage and an old dog's loyalty in ways they never imagined possible. The garage door creaked open just enough for a ribbon of frigid air to slip through, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of something wild. Something that didn't belong. Emily's hands trembled as she pushed the door wider, the hinges protesting in the silence that had swallowed their little home. Her phone's weak light carved a path through the darkness, revealing the chaos within. Storage boxes toppled like fallen dominoes. Garden tools scattered across the concrete. And there, on her late husband's workbench, deep scratches that no rodent could have made. Hello? Emily called out, her voice smaller than she intended. The word hung in the air, unanswered. Then she heard it. A breath. Not the quick, nervous panting of a raccoon or the skittering of mice. This was measured. Deliberate. The breathing of a predator waiting for its moment. Her light swept across the garage floor until it caught them, two amber discs floating in the darkness. Eyes. Unblinking. Watching. Calculating. The light revealed more with each passing second, the tawny fur, powerful shoulders, and the unmistakable silhouette of a mountain lion crouched between her car and the wall. Time seemed to crystallize. Emily had read about what to do in this situation: make yourself big, make noise, don't run. But knowing what to do and making your body obey are entirely different battles. Her muscles had turned to stone, her throat closed tight around a scream that wouldn't come. The mountain lion's tail twitched once. Just once. A signal that its patience was wearing thin. Back away slowly, Emily whispered to herself, the mantra steadying her as she took one cautious step backward. Then another. The key to survival was simple: don't startle it, don't run, close the door. Her boot heel caught on something, a bike pump or maybe one of Maddie's toys, and Emily felt herself falling before she could catch her balance. Her phone clattered to the floor, its light spinning wildly across the walls before settling on the ceiling, casting everything in disorienting shadows. The sound that escaped the mountain lion's throat wasn't a roar. It was softer. More intimate. A rumbling promise that sent ice water racing through Emily's veins. Scrambling to her feet, she lunged for the garage door, yanking it toward her. But fate had other plans. A storage box wedged beneath the door, stopping it inches from closing. Emily pushed harder, panic rising like floodwater in her chest. "Mommy? What's taking so long?" Maddie's voice cut through the night from the front door of the house, innocent and questioning, and terrifyingly loud in the delicate silence. The mountain lion's ears perked forward at the sound of fresh prey. Smaller prey. Easier prey. "Go back inside, Maddie. Right now." Emily's voice cracked with desperation. In the split second that followed, before Emily could react, before she could place herself between her child and the predator, something brushed past her legs with surprising force. Luna. The old pit bull moved with a speed and purpose Emily hadn't seen in years, her arthritic limbs forgotten, her loyalty overriding age and infirmity. She didn't bark. Didn't hesitate. She simply became what nature had always intended her to be, a shield between her family and harm. Luna positioned herself squarely between the mountain lion and the path to Emily and Maddie, her body low and powerful, her teeth bared in silent challenge. Emily watched in horror as her sweet, gentle companion, the dog who let Maddie use her as a pillow during movie nights, who licked away tears after skinned knees, who had helped them both survive grief, transformed into something ancient and untamed. Something willing to sacrifice everything. The mountain lion's muscles bunched beneath its skin, preparing to lunge. Luna's growl deepened, rumbling from some primal place that spoke a language older than words. A language the mountain lion understood perfectly. In the thin space between heartbeats, Emily realized she was witnessing something both terrible and beautiful. A demonstration of love so pure and fierce that it had no vocabulary in the human world. What happened next would define them all. Time collapsed into a series of frozen moments as the mountain lion shifted its weight, muscles rippling beneath its tawny coat. The predator's eyes, cold amber pools of ancient instinct, narrowed at the unexpected challenger standing before it. Luna's barking shattered the tense silence, each sharp sound bouncing off the garage walls like physical blows. Not the playful woofs she gave when Maddie threw her ball, or the excited greeting when Emily returned home. These were warnings, promises, declarations of war. The mountain lion pressed itself against the wall, tail lashing in agitation. Cornered predators don't surrender, they escalate. Its lips peeled back to reveal teeth designed by nature for a single purpose: to kill. "Maddie! Lock the door! Nah!" Emily's scream tore from her throat, raw and desperate. In the heartbeat that followed, she heard the blessed sound of the front door slamming shut, followed by the metallic click of the lock. One problem solved. But another remained. "Luna! Come!" Emily lunged forward, fingers stretched toward Luna's collar, desperate to pull her beloved pet to safety. But the elderly pit bull, arthritic joints forgotten, stood planted like an ancient guardian statue, immovable and resolute. Emily's fingertips brushed Luna's fur, then grasped empty air as the dog shifted just out of reach, her focus never wavering from the threat before them. In 11 years together, Luna had never once disobeyed a direct command, until now. Until it mattered most. The mountain lion took one deliberate step forward. Luna's growl deepened, vibrating through the concrete floor. Another step. The air in the garage grew thick, charged with primal energy older than civilization. In the fragile pause that followed, Emily saw something shift in Luna's stance, a subtle gathering of power, an ancient calculation. And she realized with sickening clarity what was about to happen. Luna, no. Too late. The mountain lion launched itself through the air, a fluid arc of muscle and claw and deadly intention. Luna didn't retreat. Didn't hesitate. She charged directly into the attack, 11 years of gentle companionship giving way to the fierce protector beneath. They collided in midair with a sound Emily would never forget, a terrible symphony of snarls and impact. Fur and flesh and fury became a whirling storm impossible to track with human eyes. The mountain lion's claws flashed, catching the dim light like curved daggers. A spray of crimson droplets painted the concrete floor. Luna yelped once, a sound so full of pain that Emily felt it like a physical blow to her chest. But what happened next defied everything Emily thought she knew about her gentle, elderly dog. Luna didn't yield. Didn't retreat. Even as blood matted her gray-flecked fur. Even as the mountain lion's superior weight and weaponry took their toll. She fought with a fierce determination that transcended physical limitation, her jaws finding purchase where they could, her stocky body absorbing punishment meant for her family. In that moment, as Emily pressed herself against the wall, trapped between terror and awe, she understood something fundamental about love. Real love, the kind that exists beyond sentiment and convenience, is terrible in its beauty. Frightening in its power. It doesn't calculate odds or consider personal cost. A particularly vicious slash opened Luna's shoulder, adding to the growing constellation of wounds across her body. Blood pooled beneath her paws, yet her stance never faltered. The mountain lion paused, surprised by the unexpected resistance. In that brief moment of confusion, something changed in the predator's eyes, a flicker of uncertainty, a recalculation of the battle's worth. Luna, bleeding but unbowed, took that opportunity to advance rather than retreat, her bark now a continuous challenge that filled the garage with sonic fury. It was then that Emily saw something she would question later, in quieter moments. Luna wasn't just standing her ground. She was winning. Not through strength or speed or natural weaponry, but through something far more powerful, a love so fierce and unconditional that it transformed an aging family pet into an immovable force of nature. The mountain lion took a step back. The balance of power had shifted, but at what cost? And how long could Luna's heart continue to power a body now leaving its life force on the cold garage floor? Something primal awakened in Emily as she watched Luna's blood spread across the garage floor. A fierce, ancient instinct that transcended fear and calculation, the same instinct that now drove Luna to fight beyond her limits. The unspoken promise between all mothers and protectors through time, not while I still breathe. Her eyes darted wildly around the garage, searching for something, anything. The mountain lion's claws raked across Luna's flank, drawing another pained yelp that pierced Emily's heart like a physical blow. Each second stretched into eternity as Luna weakened before her eyes, still refusing to yield despite the odds stacked impossibly against her. There, leaning against the wall. Her late husband's shovel. Emily lunged for it, fingers closing around the wooden handle with desperate strength. The weight of it felt right in her hands. Solid. Purposeful. A connection to the men who had loved both her and Luna, who would have done anything to protect them. Time compressed into a blur of pure instinct. Emily no longer recognized the sounds tearing from her own throat, primal screams that carried no words, only raw emotion. Tears streamed down her face, hot and salty on her lips as she charged forward, swinging the shovel with every ounce of strength her trembling body could summon. The mountain lion, focused on Luna's weakening resistance, didn't register the new threat until the metal blade connected with its back with a sickening thud. The predator yowled, a sound that scraped against Emily's eardrums like jagged glass, and whirled toward her, eyes flashing with newfound fury. Luna, bloody and gasping, somehow found one last reservoir of strength. As the mountain lion turned toward Emily, the loyal pit bull lunged forward, jaws clamping onto the predator's hind leg with whatever strength remained in her battered body. Emily swung again. Harder. Wild with fear and rage and desperate love. The second blow landed squarely, the impact vibrating up Emily's arms to her shoulders. The mountain lion flinched, its confidence finally fractured by this unexpected resistance from what should have been easy prey. For one breathless moment, predator and protectors locked in a silent tableau of mutual assessment. Blood dripped quietly onto concrete. Breath fogged in the cold air. The mountain lion's golden eyes flickered between Emily's shovel and Luna's unflinching gaze, making calculations beyond human understanding. Then, in a fluid motion that belied its injuries, the big cat bolted toward the partially open garage door, squeezing through the gap and vanishing into the night. The abrupt silence that followed pressed against Emily's ears like physical pressure, broken only by Luna's labored breathing and the distant sound of Maddie crying behind the glass door of the house. The shovel slipped from Emily's numb fingers, clattering against the concrete with a finality that marked the end of one ordeal and the beginning of another. She dropped to her knees beside Luna, hands hovering uselessly above her beloved companion's broken body, afraid to touch, afraid to hurt her more. Luna, oh God, Luna, she whispered, voice cracking on each syllable. Luna's eyes, those expressive brown eyes that had witnessed Emily's wedding, had watched over Maddie's first steps, had kept silent vigil during the darkest days after her husband's death, looked up with a clarity that defied her physical state. Her tail, matted with blood, thumped weakly against the floor once. Just once. Emily's shaking hands finally found Luna's fur, carefully avoiding the worst wounds, feeling the once strong heartbeat now fluttering beneath her fingertips like a trapped butterfly. Blood soaked into the knees of her jeans, still warm, still part of the life force that had protected them all. Behind the glass door, Maddie's small palms pressed against the window, her face contorted with fear and confusion as she called for her mother and her beloved dog. The clock on the wall ticked relentlessly forward, indifferent to the drama unfolding beneath it. Each second carried Luna further from them, her breathing growing shallower, the light in her eyes dimming by degrees. Emily gathered Luna's head gently into her lap, bending close to whisper into her ear. Stay with me. Please stay with me. We're going to get help. But as she reached for her phone with blood-slicked fingers, a terrible question gripped her heart. Even if help came, would it be in time? And was this the price of their safety, the loyal heart that had never once failed them? Luna's eyes fixed on Emily's face with unwavering devotion, holding on through sheer willpower and love, a silent promise in her gaze that transcended the growing shadow between life and whatever waited beyond. The veterinary clinic waiting room smelled of antiseptic and fear. Emily sat motionless, her clothes still stained with Luna's blood, as the clock on the wall marked each excruciating minute. Maddie slept curled against her side, exhausted from crying, her small hand still clutching the worn stuffed dog that Luna had carried to her bed every night since she was a toddler. 3 hours into surgery, the double doors swung open. Emily's heart stopped as the veterinarian approached, his surgical mask pulled down, his eyes tired, but was that a glimmer of something hopeful? She's a fighter, he said simply. 4 deep lacerations, significant blood loss, but somehow nothing vital was damaged. It's almost as if she knew exactly what she was doing, Emily finished, her voice barely audible. Even while fighting for her life. The next 48 hours unfolded in a blur of 4 drips, bandage changes, and the quiet beeping of monitors. News of the incident spread quickly through their small community. Wildlife officials confirmed what Emily already knew: a young male mountain lion had been hunting in residential areas. 2 family pets had already disappeared. A jogger had narrowly escaped an encounter last week. Luna hadn't just protected her family. She'd likely saved others too. Neighbors brought food, flowers, cards made by their children. One gruff old farmer who barely spoke to anyone stood awkwardly in the clinic hallway, hat in hand, and simply said, "That's some dog you got there, ma'am." The local paper ran a front-page story, "Family pet stands ground against mountain lion attack." But headlines couldn't capture what only Emily truly understood. On the 3rd day, as dawn painted the clinic windows in soft pink light, Emily sat beside Luna's recovery bed. The pit bull's body was a patchwork of stitches and bandages, her breathing still labored but steadier now. Emily gently stroked the unmarked patch of fur between Luna's ears, always her favorite spot. "The vet says we can take you home tomorrow," she whispered, leaning close so only Luna could hear. "Maddie's already cleared a space for your bed in her room. Says you're not sleeping alone anymore." Luna's eyes, those soulful brown eyes that had seen Emily through every chapter of her adult life, fluttered open at the sound of her voice. Her tail, heavily bandaged at the tip, thumped weakly against the padding. "You know, everyone's calling you a hero," Emily continued, her voice catching. "They keep asking me if I was afraid, what I was thinking when I grabbed that shovel." She paused, swallowing hard against the tightness in her throat. "But they don't understand. It wasn't bravery that made me do it. It was love. The same love that made you stand between us and danger without hesitation." Luna's eyes never left Emily's face, following her words with an intensity that transcended language. "You saved us," Emily whispered, pressing her forehead gently against Luna's. "You gave us everything. And I promise you'll never spend another day wondering if you're loved enough in return." Outside the recovery room, life continued its forward march. The mountain lion would be tracked and relocated by wildlife services. The garage door would be repaired. School and work and ordinary routines would eventually resume. But something fundamental had shifted in their small family, a deeper understanding of the bonds that held them together. That night in the garage had stripped away pretense and revealed a truth as old as time, that love, in its purest form, doesn't calculate risk or weigh consequences. It simply acts. 2 weeks later, as Emily watched Luna sunning herself in a patch of spring light, her wounds healing, her spirit undiminished, Maddie sat cross-legged beside her faithful companion, gently brushing her fur around the healing scars. "Mom?" Maddie asked suddenly, her young face solemn. "Do you think Luna knows she's a hero?" Emily considered the question, watching as Luna rested her graying muzzle on Maddie's knee with complete contentment. "I think Luna doesn't see herself that way at all," she replied softly. "I think in her mind, she was just being what she's always been, our Luna." And perhaps that was the most profound lesson of all. Some heroes don't wear capes or seek recognition. Some just wait quietly beside you for years, until the moment comes to remind you they'd give their life for yours without a second thought. Later that evening, as Luna settled between their beds, her new permanent sleeping arrangement, Emily realized that the mountain lion encounter had given them something precious, a glimpse into the depth of love that had always been there, patient and unwavering, in the heart of their faithful companion. If Luna's story moved you, we'd love to hear your experiences. Has an animal ever protected you in an unexpected way? Share your story in the comments below.